the hardest part of that ring.
For the hardest part of the ring.
Hello and welcome to episode 116 of Hardest Part of the Ring, the podcast where four friends get together to celebrate the wonder of professional wrestling. My name is Adam Richardson and I'm joined today by Sam Andrews.
Hello.
By John Mewett.
Hello. This is very formal.
Well, you know, some people might want to Google you, John, and find a bit about you, you know, find your LinkedIn and add you, maybe offer you a job.
Please don't.
And Brett Jones is also here.
Hello.
Hello, Brett.
I'm here.
So, obviously, we're going to do a podcast about wrestling very shortly. And as you'll have seen from the title, it is the third installment, the third volume of The Undertaking. But before we get to that, we should mention that the last podcast was a top five. It was top five wrestler haircuts. And it was particularly enjoyable. I thought that was a really fun one to do, particularly with everything that's been going on.
Yeah, it was great just spending hours just trawling Google image searches for haircuts. It's actually strangely relaxing.
Or just looking at Sonada and Tanahashi on Instagram and just swooning at every post.
I've got a Pinterest board just of Tanahashi now.
The great thing about that episode is that we got a couple of new listeners who were just massive Tanahashi marks and who managed to find the podcast. I don't know how, in fact, because we didn't even mention Tanahashi in the text or anything. Maybe the image got shared or something. But yeah, we got a couple of new listeners, and let's hope they stuck around, and they're listening right now.
That brings our total to 2.
Yes. We can actually pluralize listeners and it be genuine now. That's excellent. So yeah, obviously the Undertaking episodes, they can be a bit quick. So bit of a catch up. I have some news, which definitely sounds more grand than it actually is.
Oh.
I finally saw Fighting with My Family.
Oh,
really?
Is it any good?
Have you not seen it?
No.
Oh, right, okay. Have you seen it, John?
Yes.
And Brett?
Yeah.
I thought it was good. I didn't think it was amazing, but it was for a sort of fun throwaway film.
Yeah.
It was entertaining.
It's
definitely
a good hungover on a Sunday afternoon movie.
Yeah. Yeah, we watched it on a Friday night, so I don't know. I'm not quite sure if it's perfect for that. But I just enjoyed the little cameos, particularly seeing Kip Sabian in the he was in kind of the same.
Oh yeah, he's
training
a Norwich local, isn't he?
Well, the thing that I loved is that he got quite far in the process in the tryouts for NXT, and it was just funny to see him and the fact that he is obviously now signed up to AEW.
Yeah, it's funny. When I was watching AEW a few weeks ago with a friend who doesn't watch wrestling, and they mentioned that he was trained in the dungeons of Norfolk, and my friend was absolutely kicking off about Norfolk having dungeons and wrestlers training in there.
Why was it kicking off?
I think she just kind of like, from the face of it, from an outside perspective of wrestling, saying anyone was trained in the dungeon sounds mental. And of course, like from our perspective, it's kind of like, okay, well, you've got Stu Hart's dungeon, and that's where it comes from. But yeah, it was an interesting outside perspective that I never really thought of.
Yeah, that's very true. And then the other thing I wanted to mention, I actually paused the film at one point because Rishi, gosh, is in it, and he of course is your trainer, Brett.
Yeah, Coach Rishi.
Yeah, and what I loved about it is that he was wearing his actual ring gear that he wears when he wrestles, and Vince Vaughn sort of takes the piss out of him for it.
Yeah,
but yeah, it was just all it was a lot of fun to watch, and I thought I'd mention it and then immediately date this episode.
Well, I mean,
we sort of said we wouldn't do.
The film is already at least 2 years old anyway.
Yes, it is already well old.
Okay, good point. Anyone else been doing anything good, anything interesting, anything wrestling related? John, have you actually watched any wrestling in the last couple of weeks apart from these Taker matches?
Oh, no, I caught up on NXT except for the most recent episode.
So you haven't watched the Great American Bash?
No, I haven't watched the Gargano Balor Lee triple threat match.
Okay.
But really enjoyed the Sasha and Bayley invasion. I finally watched the Riddle and Timothy Thatcher match, and I thought it was okay.
It was a bit weird. I liked it because it was different.
Yeah.
But it looked really dangerous, didn't it? Like
did.
the railings up at the top of the death pit.
Yeah.
Sam, have you been watching anything, or has it all been New Japan Cup?
It's all been Undertaking research.
Fair enough. Fair enough. What about you, Brett?
Well, I mean, I think I'm now an episode behind, but I caught up with AEW Dynamite.
Nice.
Lovely.
That's on my
which
next
is
list. Yeah.
I do, I don't catch it every week, and I usually end up having to catch up on it, but I do always really enjoy it. Like, unlike, Raw or SmackDown, like, I watched Dynamite and I'm like, oh, that was a lot of fun. Why don't I, keep up to date with it?
Yeah.
But yeah, that was really good. I've not caught up with NXT, and I've just started the New Japan Cup. So getting some New Japan back in my life, which is good.
Yeah, I'm interested to... I've heard a little bit about how they've been doing it post-COVID. Well, not post-COVID, obviously we're still in the middle of that, and will be for the rest of our lives. But it's interesting hearing about their approach.
New Japan Cup has been great so far. It's really highlighted how bad we are at predicting wrestling as well.
I love the way he says we.
Don't you think, like, Sam, maybe you can... But I don't know, there's something about... Maybe it's just because it's New Japan. I'm a fanboy, so I'm just like, yay, it looks awesome. But, like, the ring just being, the empty audience with New Japan, somehow it just works.
I think that's to do with just the Japanese audience has been a bit quieter.
Maybe, and it's not, but like, I just like when I saw the ring just there with the wrestlers and there was like no one else, I was just like, wow, this is, I don't know, it felt more like, some part of a film or something, like some boss.
I think kind of maybe because Japan treat their wrestling a bit more sport-like than entertainment-like, it kind of lends itself better to the empty arena environment.
Definitely. Maybe that is it. Looks awesome though. I saw the ring and I was just like, oh, why does this look so cool?
Excellent. Well, there's your little catch up. Everybody knows what we've been up to now, so we can get on with the Undertaking Volume 3. And this is the part where I hand over to Sam.
Thank you. The Undertaking. It is a retrospective review of the pay-per-view events that The Undertaker's participated in following his career from 1990 to 2020, and provides a snapshot of the wrestling landscape at the time, which is wonderful because Undertaker's recently allegedly retired.
Yeah,
I guess
that's big.
We'll see. But if so, then, our work is literally cut out for us. We've just got 30 years of wrestling to review.
I was going to say, like, 1 or 2 extra matches won't make a big difference in the grand scheme of things to us.
I mean, I reckon we've got about 3 episodes on the Boneyard match to make, but yeah.
Do we actually know how many pay-per-view matches he's had? How many?
Oh, I knew this number and you put me on the spot and I've not got it now.
Wasn't it 112 or something like that?
It's in the hundreds.
That's not too bad.
However, previously on The Undertaking, we were in 1991, where we were reviewing matches 3, 4, and 5 of his career. Those being against Jimmy Snuka at WrestleMania, and then a duo of matches against the immortal Hulk Hogan. And if you'd like to listen to that and catch up, that's episode 112.
Lovely.
But this is episode 116, and we are today looking at matches 6 and 7, starting with Royal Rumble 1992.
Oh, what a busy afternoon it's going to be at my funeral parlor. 29 hearses have already been prepared. 29 bodies, 29 caskets. And standing atop this mass carnage will be the Undertaker, crowned once more World Wrestling Federation Heavyweight Champion.
Boom. Big Rumble.
Big Rumble.
As in big reputation this Rumble has. A lot of people say it's the best Rumble ever.
Has anyone watched it before? This is the first time I've watched it.
This is
First time for me.
second time I've watched this one, and I enjoyed it just as much. I think it's a really good Rumble, this. Spoilers. Match 6, Royal Rumble 1992, held at the Knickerbocker Arena in Albany, New York.
Could we just, for a second, discuss the title of the arena?
See, I usually on a rewind episode, I tend to do a lot of research into these arenas. Now, I understand why you haven't done that, Sam, because it's a lot of pressure to live up to that, and you probably wouldn't be able to do it as well. But I want to know more about this place.
Is it named after the dessert or like a brand that we've never heard of?
But Knickerbocker, the dessert's named after something, isn't it?
What, the arena?
I thought Knickerbocker was a place.
Oh, okay, right.
Okay.
You Phil, I'll Google.
Episode.
Quick wiki. Knickerbocker refers to people or objects from Manhattan.
Hey, there we go. Forget about it.
Oh, wow. When it's put like that, it sounds like a racial slur almost, doesn't it?
And then it also says knickerbockers are clothing, which look like some pretty funky trousers.
And they're like pantaloons.
Oh, like MC Hammer used to wear those sort of parachute pant type things.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And then the New York Knicks. Knickerbocker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It all adds up. We are learning about America here on The Undertaking. But
Hold on. So did the New York Knicks play at the Knickerbocker Arena?
No. Madison Square Garden, isn't it?
Okay, I only asked because it's in New York, and so that's not such a stretch, is it?
Does the Knickerbocker Arena still exist?
I don't think it does, actually. I'm not sure.
Okay, keep talking, and I'll
Okay.
do some more Googling. This is Hardest Part of the Ring.
Whilst Adam Googles, I talk. Following on from the controversial finish at this Tuesday in Texas, 1991, that catchy pay-per-view, Hulk Hogan, fresh off his victory over The Undertaker, would be stripped of his WWF title by President Jack Tunney. Just because you can either say the matches were kind of shit and no one should have been champ, or they were just kind of controversial finishes, which is probably accurate. There's a lot of urn dust thrown around there. And so,
Ding, ding, ding. Knickerbocker update.
Nope.
The Knickerbocker Arena is now called the Times Union Center, originally Knickerbocker Arena, and then the Pepsi Arena. And I can confirm that, no, the New York Knicks never played there, but the New York Kick did. And the New York Kick are a professional indoor soccer team.
Oh, a professional
Wow,
indoor soccer.
that's
a
not even the
professional
most-
indoor soccer team.
I was say, that's not even like the Cosmos or Red Bull, is it? That's rubbish.
How much are they getting paid? Who's
don't know.
paying to watch indoor soccer?
Apparently, they got an average attendance of 2,100 for the 2 years they were there.
Wow.
I'm going to buy a New York Kick replica jersey right now.
Blown
Anyway,
my mind.
Is that your Undertaking fact for the episode, or do you have something later?
No,
lined
that'll
up?
come later. I'm just going to
great.
spend this whole episode just online Googling whilst you host. This is lovely.
This is cruel and unusual. However, Jack Tunney would put the title on the line in the upcoming 1992 Royal Rumble. And in fairness to Undertaker and Hulk Hogan,
Channeling Ultimate Warrior there.
I was going to redo that and we were going to edit that out, but now we're not. He granted them an advantage in the draw by giving them numbers between 20 and 30. And so, joined by Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby the Brain Heenan, we go into the Royal Rumble 1992. And out first, British Bulldog, Ted DiBiase.
Yes. In fact, can I pull it back
Please.
slightly?
Do we have more Knickerbocker facts?
No. It's just because obviously you mentioned the fact that it was, the title was on the line, and obviously this was the first of only 2 times that has ever happened. John or Brett, do you know the other time it happened where the world title was on the line at a Royal Rumble?
No.
Royal Rumble 2003.
No, it's
Can
not
I
that long
get
ago.
a quiz point if I get this right?
Well, I thought you might know from
Well,
your
I-
research.
Yeah, I do know. That's why I want the quiz point now.
No points, but tell us.
It was
Although-
2016.
Yeah, Triple H.
Oh, of course. Oh, bloody
That's
hell.
just before we started doing the pod.
I like the
So,
fact that we've decided not to reward Sam for actually doing proper homework.
Well, yeah, I think that's fair. But anyway, there was no real wrestling before the pod started. It's like there was no football before the Premier League started.
That's a great analogy, that.
And now we're going to talk about wrestling that happened before the pod started.
And so, yes, we had a title on the line. I say title on the line. Obviously, this was the vacant title up for grabs.
Really cool, though, to have... Rumbles are exciting anyway, but to know that the winner's going to get the title belt must have been so much fun to watch, especially because it meant that the list of names in this Rumble was
Oh my
just
God,
incredible.
This Royal Rumble is rightfully considered one of the greatest ever, and so it starts with Bulldog DiBiase, and Bulldog, he puts on a show in the first half of this.
He is super bloody jacked in this pay-per-view as well.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
1992 would be the beginnings of the rumblings of the big old steroid scandal.
How dare
Yeah,
you.
because this is about the time Hogan goes away, doesn't he?
He does, yeah.
Yes, this
Disappears from WWE.
and kind of beyond Bulldog and DiBiase, who DiBiase kind of turns up, makes some money, goes home.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'd be happy with that.
But then, number 3, the man, Ric Flair, makes his entrance. And I think that's probably a good starting point to really discuss like this Rumble overall, because this is Ric Flair's Rumble, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, his big moment, his big WWE moment.
And he had to work hard for it.
Yeah, because obviously he stays
like-
in the whole match, like
Yeah.
hour plus,
And
whatever.
he doesn't do a Jericho or something and disappear, or just, he's not there just taking a breather in the corner for big stints. He's like working throughout,
Yeah.
taking bumps throughout. Like, what a master.
The Ric Flair performance in this match is legendary. He
Yeah.
is. I've got to be honest. I have never liked Ric Flair, and I say that as a fan of wrestling. I don't like him because he was always a heel, and I hated him as a kid. And as kind of, there's a part of me now that absolutely loves him for that, because he did his job so well. And
Yeah, I only came to liking him much later.
Yeah,
because I
yeah.
could appreciate all the work he actually did.
Yeah.
then, rather than just hating this guy who was always a heel, but also like even then he seemed old.
Yeah, it is, doesn't it? It's
Yeah,
weird, isn't it? Even in
definitely.
1992, he looks so old.
I looked it up. He was 43.
I mean,
Bloody
that
hell.
is
Then.
quite old.
That's pretty old. We're allowed to say that's old. It's still older than us.
That's older than the big scheme of things of wrestling, isn't it?
Yeah. I also thought in this, especially in this first half, Ric Flair and Shawn Michaels, when he comes out, they put on a clinic on selling.
Oh God,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
Absolute clinic. Both of them were exceptional.
When Shawn Michaels is on the turnbuckle and he gets pulled onto the ropes,
Yeah.
just his selling there, absolutely fantastic.
Don't you feel as if Flair kind of pulled out the, stumble into the middle of the ring and then fall flat onto
The
his
Flair
back?
flop?
Or, he did that a few too many times, right?
I loved every
yeah.
single one of them.
He
Every
did it like
single
4
one of them.
times.
He was there for an hour, Adam. Come on, what else are you going to do?
Yeah, the Flair flop is to what the sit up is for the Undertaker. It's his kind of one of his things.
Yeah, loved it.
As well,
If I
kind
did-
of. Was anyone listening out to the amount of wooing there was whenever he would land a chop?
No, I didn't.
No.
It was kind
No,
of.
were they there? I
They
don't-
were there, but they were kind of. There's only smatterings of it. I would say kind of. I don't know when it would have become such a iconic thing to always do, but obviously it wasn't 1992.
Yeah, he wasn't popular at this point, well, particularly popular within WWE, was he? 'Cause he was still
No.
relatively new, and he was always seen as the WCW guy.
Yeah. Plus, I think the crowd, certainly in these days, there wasn't much coordinated, like, chanting or stuff like that. It was just general cheering.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And the crowd were electric for this. Another part of this I noticed, which kind of I very much do compare to today's product, is early on in the match, Gorilla Monsoon Bobby Heenan absolutely calls out the camera work for missing part of the match.
Really?
Yeah,
Really?
has an absolute go at it. And I was just thinking how good that makes kind of the product feel, because it makes it feel so much more authentic. Whereas kind of obviously quite recently we had a Royal Rumble where a key moment was missed because of some poor camera work. And yeah, kind of trying to keep the things going smoothly. No one said anything, but my God, that was bad.
There wasn't there also a moment where Macho Man just like launched himself
Yes.
out
Oh,
over
yeah.
the top to take out, and I thought it was great. Like, I thought that was great story. Like, he just like, right, I'm done with this Rumble because I need to go after Jake the Snake.
Absolutely.
But then it wasn't. They like allowed it.
So
That must
that
have been
was
a
weird.
mistake, right? There's no
Yeah.
way Macho Man, because obviously
Yeah.
they said it that you can only be eliminated if someone throws you over the top. You can't eliminate yourself. Like,
Yeah,
that seems a
that's
bit of a.
on the fly rules making. We'll come back to Macho Man, who appears a bit later on. But yes, so kind of early doors. It's very much Bulldog and Ric Flair putting on a clinic for the first half of the match, going through a lot of the old jobbers. We've got a nasty boy out there. I think it was the other
Yeah,
one
I was
this time.
so happy when I saw one of the nasty, because this whole Royal Rumble is stacked with like A-class talent, and then there's just this one nasty boy.
Indeed.
And did you notice, and I think this is right, but he appeared to have one of his front teeth coloured in.
Yeah.
Like a child going to a
I didn't notice that.
birthday
Yeah.
party dressed as a pirate.
Yeah, I do. I think that was his thing.
Just to make it
him
look like it was
more-
missing.
Yeah.
So funny.
But yeah, obviously, kind of the early on in the Rumble, I think kind of they got a lot of jobbers out of the way. Kind of Barbarian, Repo Man, Valentine,
Oh yeah, bloody Valentine showed up again.
blonde hair this time.
I loved Repo Man getting involved, and particularly, obviously, the little bout that he had with Big Boss Man, and it was great to see Big Boss Man. But Boss Man chucks out Repo Man, and little sort of foreshadowing, preparing for their match they have at SummerSlam '92.
Great research, Adam.
Oh, well, it's just because SummerSlam '92 is the only pay-per-view I sort of know well out of all the ones we've ever talked about.
No,
Sorry.
I was just going to say you missed out the bit earlier when the Matador, Santana and Repo Man were circling each other in the middle for ages, like they were going to tussle, and then they just sort of, like they were going round and round, and other people were just in the corners beating each other up, and then they just decided to not attack each other and just go for someone in a corner. I was like, they did this long build up, but they obviously felt like we're not really meant to do this, something else is meant to happen, so they were going round and round. And I was waiting for it.
Should we list? I mean, I've got the list here because I made a note of all of them, as I always do, but should we just list who came out in what order?
Yeah, so obviously we start with Bulldog and DiBiase. Ric Flair comes out number 3, and then we have a nasty boy, Suggs.
Yeah,
Haku, Shawn Michaels.
Sags. Yeah, not Suggs.
Oh, was it not Suggs?
Ring gear, baggy trousers.
Sags. Whatever. Haku, Shawn Michaels, El Matador, Barbarian, Texas Tornado, Repo Man, Greg Valentine. Number 12, Nikolai Volkov. This is very interesting in the fact that kind of Gorilla Monsoon says things are rough in Russia at the moment. This was 3.5 weeks after the fall of the Soviet Union.
Oh really? I was wondering what
Yeah.
that comment was about.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
And also, he came out he didn't even get booed or anything. It was just like no reaction at all
Yeah, it's
from Nikolai.
that was a return for him as well, like a surprise appearance. It obviously
God.
fell a bit flat, but my
Yeah.
goodness, I couldn't imagine being him at that time. Yeah, wrestling in a company that loves to play on current affairs to whatever.
I think he famously hated Russia as well, didn't he? I think that's why he liked the gimmick.
Yeah, he didn't, because he had like this being America.
Yeah.
He always like held the American flag off, and didn't he?
Yeah. And then following that, we had Big Boss Man.
Amazing.
Yeah, he was so good. He cleared
So fast.
Yeah, and he absolutely launched Repo Man out the ring, like threw it like 10 rows deep into the audience. It was amazing.
Was that when he threw him into the corner?
Yeah, just absolutely launched him.
Yeah.
I need to watch some more Big Boss Man matches. I was listening to an episode of WrestleMania a little while ago. I can't remember which WrestleMania they were talking about, but Mark Haynes, the host, was just talking a lot about Boss Man and about these incredible matches he had in Japan, and just all these other matches that are available to watch on YouTube or Daily Motion or whatever. I think there's just a lot of old Big Boss Man stuff that I think needs to be watched.
I really like.
Maybe
the
we'll
Big
do
Boss
a
Man.
Big Boss Man retrospective once we're done with this.
Oh, goodness,
We need
me,
a
I tell
pun
you
name
what,
though.
You look at his Attitude Era time.
I'd be well up for
There
that.
is some mad stuff in that.
Yes. Oh my God. Maybe we have to do it. Maybe that's our thing now. Let's just not do pay-per-views. Let's just do every single match of our favourite wrestlers.
And we'll start with the Big Boss Man with his Confederate flag on his.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Who was next? 14 was
so-
Hercules. Ooh.
Yes. He then had Hercules. At this point in time as well, Tito Santana and Shawn Michaels just go missing.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Well, no one eliminated them as far as I'm aware.
It was also around this time. Everyone got eliminated, didn't they? It was just Ric Flair
Yeah.
left in a ring.
They They did. I saw it. It was on camera, and both Shawn Michaels and Santana sent each other over. Essentially,
Oh, did
they were tussling, and they both just went over.
Yeah.
Okay,
And I remember thinking
it.
there was not much of a reaction considering it was Shawn Michaels. It was quite low key.
I think this is very early Shawn Michaels, though, isn't it?
Yeah, because he'd only just turned on poor
Yeah.
Marty Jannetty.
Yeah, Paul Marty was picking the glass out of his face during this Royal Rumble.
And so, yeah, Bossman and Hercules. The ring is cleared out, and we're left with Hot Rod, Jake the Snake, and Ric Flair. 3 great wrestlers.
When Hot Rod comes out and there's like those 2 minutes with just him and Flair,
Yeah,
I was
Oh,
so
my
happy.
goodness.
It was so good, those 2 minutes. Just those two, just proper old wrestling. Oh,
Yes.
so good.
the energy of Hot Rod as well.
Yeah, because he wrestled earlier in the match. I actually watched his match against the Mountie because, like, I'll watch a Roddy match. It wasn't great, but then he comes out and he's in this for like 30 odd minutes.
Hot Rod is, to me, he's the kind of wrestler who, if he was ahead of his time, if he was wrestling now, I think he would be probably one of the most popular wrestlers in the world.
Oh yeah, especially if he had his Piper's Pit.
Absolutely. Just unbelievable charismatic energy guy.
He did all right, and he was popular.
He was popular. Did he ever made it? He never got out of that B tier, though, did he?
No, apparently that was his only belt, wasn't it? The Intercontinental. At that
Yeah,
point.
it's bonkers.
Wild.
He had apparently an old school mentality where he wouldn't be like pinned or submitted sort of thing. So, he wouldn't put talent over in that way. So therefore, I think it made it difficult to write stuff around him.
I do worry a little bit what they might do with him if he was around now. I could like picture him coming out, chucking little haggises into the crowd. And, like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, they would never push a Scottish wrestler.
Good point.
Though he is obviously not actually Scottish.
No.
Following Hot Rod, Jake the Snake, and Ric Flair being in the ring, we're then treated to Hacksaw Jim Duggan,
Oh, I bloody hate Hacksaw.
IRS.
You love Hacksaw. Can I just bring that back, Sam?
Yeah,
because you're a big fan of it. Isn't he the first wrestler you ever saw a match of or something?
He is. He's one of the first wrestlers I ever saw live in a main event in a WCW show at the Excel when I was a little kid.
Amazing.
Smacked someone with a frozen chicken. It was amazing. Which I imagine would actually be quite painful.
Oh, it'd be awful.
Yeah,
really
and
hurt.
humiliating as well.
I hate frozen chickens.
Yeah.
I've never cooked a chicken in my entire life.
Really?
Good for you, Adam.
No, I'm not. It's not because I'm vegan or anything like that. It's just whenever we have chicken, my wife deals with it. I just can't bear the fact there's a little corpse lying there. That just looks fucking weird, doesn't it? Like when you get buy a chicken in a shop, it's so weird. So weird.
This sounds like you're coming out to us as vegan.
No, well, I mean, it makes me think about being vegan. I've also had a weird thing with eggs recently. Over lockdown, I've just been eggs. Like they totally freak me out.
I can't deal with eggs. I
This
hate
is
the taste.
incredible.
Oh, gross.
I love non-hosting Adam, who just
I usually don't have time to say this stuff.
wild.
Eggs are weird, guys. Anyway, back to the pod.
Hacksaw Jim Duggan, IRS, and noted murderer Jimmy Snooker.
Oh.
Yeah, there was definitely there was a lull of
Indeed.
in the second half of this rumble.
Oh, I thought the second half was better than the first.
Oh, really?
guys, I think there was a lull for about 45 minutes in the middle of this rumble, personally.
Yeah.
that's probably
I didn't
what
actually enjoy it that much.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I just thought there was loads of like moves being hit, even submissions. Like it wasn't just punching and rest hold sort of, things in the corners, which is normal rumble fodder. And then in the second, or I say second half, but it probably was like a big chunk in the middle before you get to like the end, which is exciting again. It sort of ended up being lots of rest holds and lots of people just leaning, trying to push them over the ropes, but not succeeding.
That's so funny, isn't it? It's so easy to get a wrestler onto the top rope, but it's damn near impossible to get them over it.
I know. And it's like, what's the best way to get this guy over the top rope? I know, put my whole body over him and my arm under him. So I'm kind of still holding him on. Anyway.
After noted murderer Jimmy Snooker, we have number 20.
Here
the
he
man
is.
himself, The Undertaker.
And this tremendous crowd is counting it down as the greatest thing alive. Who is it? Royal Rumble I've ever seen. Oh, it's The Undertaker. Oh, death takes a holiday. Former WWF champion.
There we go. Now we get to talk about the man we're supposed to talk about.
Coming out to mostly boos.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was weird because obviously WrestleMania, we'll talk after this, he had a huge pop.
Yeah.
Did he just like turn face after this?
I think so, yes.
Or sort of face. I mean, it's the Undertaker.
I think they were playing around with it. I suppose kind of without the weekly shows, without the Raw and SmackDown kind of keeping continuity, perhaps reactions to wrestlers were a bit more regionalised depending on where kind of house shows would have been. So in some areas he may have been more heel, others he may have been more face, but very much booed.
He only got a big reaction in Parts Unknown when they did shows there.
Good wrestling crowd.
Taker.
Yeah.
Taker comes to the ring, chokes out Snooker.
Charming.
Yep.
He sent Snooker straight out.
He did.
Actually,
yeah.
He didn't even choke him out, did he? He sort of like almost slapped him out.
Yeah. Which the thing is, I didn't see enough of that sort of thing. Not just slapping someone out, but like because there was a few, like Sid Justice and Hogan and stuff. There's a few big guys like in this Rumble.
Yeah.
And when you're that big, really, there should be fodder for you as soon as you arrive. So like to have, someone like Taker rock in, send someone straight out, like it plays into their size and their dominance in that aspect.
Absolutely.
Snooker's not small either.
Yeah, Snooker's a giant.
Number 21, Macho Man comes out, runs out,
Runs
eliminates
out so
Jake the
fast.
Snake, and then eliminates himself.
Yeah, he jumps over the top rope.
Yeah.
Literally just jumps over it.
Definitely eliminated himself. And if they'd have left that would have been great storyline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Like, that is incredible commitment to the bit. If the idea of, like, you hate someone so much that even winning the title isn't enough, you need to take out your enemy.
But it's Taker who drags him back in, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that's it. Yeah. It's is this an early example of Taker's allegiance to Vince McMahon, or God knows what's going on there?
I mean, Taker really didn't do much at all.
No,
did he? It was incredibly underwhelming.
Yes. He did lots of the rest hold chokes in the corner.
Oh god,
and doing his little like eye roll thing. Like he didn't do much else. And in fact, at times he looked like he was just doing his slow walk around the ring, thinking, "What am I doing?"
Yeah.
So
What's
whose
next?
whose neck is open for a choke?
I think this is kind of where I'm starting to realise with Undertaker is that I really like his one-on-one matches, but that's because he's such an intimidating presence that kind of when it's like you alone against him, you kind of have this horror film sort of vibe going on. But the moment you bring him into like a ring with 15, 20 wrestlers or something, and he's kind of just lumbering around choking people, it loses its sort of scary vibe.
Yeah. Didn't someone low blow him as well?
Ric
He's sort of
Flair.
like-
Ric Flair, yeah.
I thought that
Low
was
blows.
hilarious because he sort of like reacted but no sold at the same time.
It was excellent.
It was like he wanted to sell because, he may be the Undertaker, but he's still got the crown jewels down there.
Indeed. Following Macho Man, we had Berserker.
Was he the one that looked a bit like... Oh, Christ, who's that old wrestler that got stabbed in Mexico? Bruiser Brody.
Yes.
I've never seen him before, this Berserker guy.
I
really
feel
know much
like I
about him.
have, but I couldn't tell who he was until at the end when they said Berserker's out.
Yeah, because obviously don't have graphics saying who each person is when they come out. And it's like, who the bloody hell is this guy?
I think kind of early 90s hairy giant wrestler. It's easy to mistake them for anyone. And then number 23, Virgil, comes out.
Oh, guys, hold on. I'm so sorry, but as you know, I've been Googling a lot throughout this episode. The Berserker, apparently he was billed as from Parts Unknown when he was the Berserker.
No. Really?
Yeah.
God,
Yeah.
such a massive contingent from Parts Unknown.
That's mad, isn't it? And his ring names were the Barbarian, the Berserker, John Nord, Nord the Barbarian, the Viking, and Yukon John.
I was going to say he definitely had a Viking to him.
Yeah, and he's still going. He's 60 years old.
Good for you,
old John.
Yukon John.
I wonder if there was ever a Survivor Series match of wrestlers from Parts Unknown versus America.
Oh, God, that'd be so good.
That would be good. Wouldn't it?
I think kind of next episode we'll bring our Parts Unknown team for you, the listener.
Guys, unfortunately, he has amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, which has confined him to a wheelchair, and he'll spend the remainder of his life in assisted living facilities.
Oh, sorry, Berserker. That's rough.
Oh, that is sad.
Well, speaking of wrestlers still going, number 23, Virgil.
Yeah, that's another sad story. Let's move on.
Yeah, another sad story.
Nice racist comment from Heenan as well.
Very racist comment from Bobby Heenan there.
Oh, I didn't hear it. Let's not go over it now.
Yeah, we're not gonna repeat it. It's racist. It's not no place for it. 24, the Iron Sheik or Mustafa.
Did you notice how he was doing the bushwhacker arms thing as you come down to the ring?
Yeah.
Yes. How dare he?
25, Rick Martel, the model.
Previous record holder for the longest amount of time
Which
spent
is
in a rumble.
Bonkers, isn't it? Because normally people that are a long time in a rumble are like proper hardened veterans, people that know stuff. The Rick Martel.
Yeah.
It's a weird one, that, isn't it?
Yeah, strange.
Did you notice that Gorilla Monsoon also called or referred to Ric Flair as Rick Martel on a couple of occasions? He did it.
He did it,
and it was a mistake, and then he did it immediately again. It was really weird.
He absolutely snuck it past me. I didn't notice that at all. Number 26, Hulk Hogan, that jobber.
I was quite excited when he came out, I have to be honest.
It's still the biggest reaction, isn't it, by a mile?
Yeah, huge.
He comes out to the ring, eliminates Taker. He's got to pay that Hogan tax.
I know.
That's the end of Taker.
That was it.
Hulk off the ropes, yes, clothesline, and Undertaker's gone! Undertaker's out of there! Wow, goes Berserker! Imagine putting up the Undertaker and the Berserker within 10 seconds!
A very underwhelming.
It was.
Very underwhelming performance from Taker.
It really was.
And then kind of going into the final parts of this Rumble, 27, Skinner.
Boo.
Notable hairdresser.
Nice. He got mentioned last week.
Yep. 28, Sergeant Slaughter. 29, Sid Justice.
So Slaughter, I'm guessing, is now back to being... Because obviously when we reviewed... What was the last one we did? He was an Iraqi, wasn't he?
Tuesday in Texas. He was a defector to the Iraqi cause. He was one of Saddam Hussein's soldiers.
I'm guessing he's not that now.
It's hard to say. I stopped researching Sergeant Slaughter after he...
Right now, present day, you mean?
Still holding on hope.
I think he might have still been a heel at this point, but kind of very much away from the main event. But yes, 28, Sergeant Slaughter. 29, Sid Justice. Number 30, The Warlord.
That's almost as disappointing as when Roman Reigns comes out at number 30, isn't it? When the Warlord comes
I
out.
was going to say, yeah.
Almost. Oh, that is harsh. Because that was so underwhelming, Warlord.
Yeah, it was rubbish.
And he went straight out.
It didn't last long, did he? It was a minute or so. I really hate Sid Justice. Really hate him. But I thought he was bloody awesome in this Rumble. Like, just eliminating people left, right, centre. One point, he even did a kip-up.
Yeah.
He did. I sort of thought I imagined that.
Yeah.
And I had to go back because I was like, no, surely you didn't do a kip up.
So the moment Sid Justice came out, I was looking at him. He is the spitting image of Lars Sullivan, but with hair.
Yeah, a little bit. There's a little bit of that about him.
Yeah.
But
So the final three was Justice, Flair, and Hogan.
indeed, and
obviously, I imagine everybody watching expecting Hogan to win.
Won the last two.
So, yeah, my last note on this Rumble is, what kind of flawed finish was that? Exclamation mark, question mark, exclamation mark. There's no way Hogan is a face. Utter bullshit what happens at the end here.
Well, remind listeners what does happen.
Hogan?
Shall I remind you?
I was going to do it off the dome, but yeah, by all means, go for it, Adam.
No. I'm only joking. Just because basically there was a slight pause in your hosting, so I jumped straight on it.
That's cruel. It's
Which is
bullying.
incredibly harsh.
Hogan throws Ric Flair into the corner, and with that goes for the elimination. Picks up Flair, goes to eliminate him. Sid Justice sees his opportunity, picks up Hogan, eliminates Hogan. Flair, sneaky is, survives. And Hogan, absolutely outraged by his elimination, grabs Sid Justice's hand, and kind of pulls on it like a child pulling his parent's hand or something. And Flair, seeing his opportunity, eliminates Justice, wins the Rumble, but does not manage to have any kind of focus after basically the show is stolen by Hogan and Justice.
That I thought that was a bit shit, especially when you win the belt. But like they were just setting up for the next show, weren't they?
Yeah.
I guess, yeah. I mean, I really like that ending. But then Flair then went on to have the backstage promo, which is one of the greatest promos.
That was a great promo.
Heenan and Mr. Perfect in the background. No. So he kind of got his moment there to celebrate. And also Mean Gene telling off that guy for smoking a cigarette.
Yeah, what was that about? That's weird, wasn't it?
Somebody off camera was smoking or something. It was very weird.
So going back to this ending, apparently this was the setup of turning Sid Justice heel. And they even went back in the Coliseum video re-release of this Royal Rumble, the videotape, and redubbed the commentary to make it sound as if Sid Justice was heel, sneaking up on him.
Really?
Yeah.
What, loads of booze and stuff?
I don't know if they redubbed the audience, but apparently the commentary, they got Gorilla Monsoon to say Sid Justice snuck up on Hogan and kind of made it sound as if he was a heel, which is obviously not what happened at all. And the WWE Network version of this very much kind of is as it appears. It seems like Hogan gets eliminated and throws a temper tantrum.
Yeah. Although it's sort of, I mean, because Hogan's like, is the face. I think for Sid to go, choose that moment to think is definitely a heel turn moment. If he was face before, because I didn't really know he was face before.
Allegedly so.
But and then for them to have their bit in the ring afterwards definitely suggests that that is a heel turn for me anyway.
It's interesting.
Great Rumble though, guys.
Fantastic Rumble in my opinion. Following Ric Flair's victory, this would act as the catalyst for Sid Justice's heel turn, where he would go on to feud with Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania VIII. For Flair, he would see himself booked in a rivalry with Macho Man, and for Taker, whose ignominious elimination left him with fresh feuds to pursue. So, yeah. Adam, what do you give this match out of 5?
The match overall, I'll give it 3.5.
Cool.
And I think basically a bit of that improved as time went on, and I sort of understood the Rumble a little bit more in terms of a lot of the storylines that were happening. But as a match that I watched with my eyes at the time, I was just like, I'm not actually enjoying this that much. Ric Flair is being amazing, but I'm not enjoying it.
And how would you rate Undertaker's performance?
I'll give him a 1.5 because he did eliminate somebody, and yeah, it's not quite a 1.5.
Brett,
I give the Rumble a 4.
Mm-hmm.
I would give it a 5, but there was a chunk where it was just too slow and they weren't eliminating people; they were just pushing people against ropes.
A 4-star Rumble is a fantastic score.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. I think it was like that. All the good in it was really, really good. And there was a lot of really good stuff in it.
There was one point where there were 10 people in the ring at one time, and a lot of them were massive. I quite enjoyed that. Although you never know what's going on.
Adam likes a massive guy, and my Taker score, I'm giving Taker a 1.
Yeah,
I just was not impressed at all with this. Sorry,
John,
Taker.
Where'd you stand?
So I'm giving the Rumble 5.
Very nice.
Best Rumble ever.
It was so good. Like, just the people were in it and the way it was booked. Loved it.
You're not constrained by a 5-star system.
No, I think just give everyone 5. Life's too short. Give everything 5. And I am giving Taker 1.
1. I'm following Brett's example here of giving the match a 4 and Taker a 1. And
nice.
This gives us an overall ranking of the Royal Rumble of 4.125, which is the highest rated. Undertaker 1.125, which is his lowest rated.
Yeah, he definitely takes a dip. He sort of started quite strong and he's taken a dip.
Yeah, that's not going to improve for a while, I don't think either, guys.
No.
But please keep listening.
Sorry, Gavin, sorry. It's going to get so much better from here, guys. I don't know if you've seen a Giant Gonzalez match, but Matt Technician.
Spoilers. And that brings us to our Undertaker fact.
You want to hear an interesting
Undertaker
Fact.
Yes, so I'm going to give you guys a fact now as a little interlude between matches, Undertaking matches that we are reviewing. Did you know that back in the day, a long time ago in WWE, there was a massive egg that used to be displayed across WWE events? 30 years ago, in fact. And when it eventually hatched, out came a wrestler named Gobbledygooker. Now, obviously, we do know this, and he's one of your favourite wrestlers of all time, John, is that right?
He's definitely on my Mount Rushmore.
I think you wanted to rob a bank with him, if I remember the top 5 wrestlers to rob a bank with.
I think I did like a Spartan
Trojan
horse with an egg thing.
Yeah, it was so funny. But yeah, that happened 30 years ago. Gobbledygooker came out in a turkey outfit. But did you know that the Eggman had originally planned to be Mark Calloway?
What?
Whoa, right?
Whoa.
Apparently, originally,
He spoke about this, I think, in
it was going to be him.
the doc.
Oh, really? So
Network.
everybody who's watched that already knew that. We haven't watched those yet. Oh,
You've
dear.
exposed us, Adam, to our lack of research.
Well, part of me doesn't want to watch that doc yet until we finish the Undertaking.
That's kind of
Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
yeah. I'm waiting to kind of get towards the
Oh.
end, but
I
Yeah,
spoiled
so-
the ending.
I love it if that's the ending. The
He
final
retires.
scene. I was nearly the Gobbledygooker.
that's
Fake
wild.
credits.
So what? Would it still been the Undertaker just hatching from an egg? Because that sounds very 80s sci-fi.
I think it was going to be the different gimmick. Not necessarily the Gobbledygooker, but he certainly wasn't going to be a dead man or an Undertaker.
Wild.
So yeah, there we
Great
go.
fact.
That concludes my Undertaker fact.
You want to hear an interesting
Undertaker
Fact.
Match 7 versus Jake the Snake Roberts at WrestleMania VIII 1992, taking place at the Hoosier Dome in Indianapolis, Indiana, which was destroyed in 2008 after they deflated the dome on the top of the Hoosier Dome. Adam.
Yes. Now, I mean, the great thing about this is I got about halfway through this match before I remembered that we have already reviewed this on the podcast. WrestleMania 8 we did as the hardest part of the ring rewind. And I'd
Indeed.
completely forgotten, which is weird.
And so we are going back once again to review a match for the second time. In the build-up to WrestleMania VIII, Undertaker would begin his next feud by saving Miss Elizabeth from a sneak attack by a upset Jake the Snake Roberts following his defeat earlier in the night to Macho Man Randy Savage. Have you guys seen that clip?
Yes. Now, I got a question, Sam. Do you know, like canon-wise, is this before or after the snake at the wedding?
This is after the snake at the wedding.
Right, okay.
Because, Jake the Snake and Undertaker, in fact, was...
Adam's just like, snake penis.
No. It wasn't that. Well, I mean, that did cross my mind. But I just thought, I wonder how many other podcasts there are that have the question, was this before or after the snake at the wedding? Not many. That's why we love wrestling.
Undertaker was aligned with Jake the Snake, kind of tormenting Randy Savage and Miss Elizabeth.
I thought that.
Maybe not as much as Randy Savage tormented Miss Elizabeth, but going into the end of February, Jake the Snake would appear on Paul Bearer's funeral parlor to demand answers. And this promo is pretty amazing, actually. He's just there asking, "What side are you on?" And eventually the Undertaker appears from a coffin and just goes, "Not yours."
In that accent? That's weird.
Yeah, in that exact accent. Jake would go on to DDT Paul Bearer, trap the Undertaker's hand in a coffin and lay him to him with a chair.
Love that. Great acting from the Undertaker, pretending his hand was stuck.
This whole scene is pretty amazing because of how long it goes on. Jake the Snake beats on him with a chair for probably about 10 minutes. And Taker just keeps...
Hang on, 10 minutes?
Seriously, it takes
No.
ages.
10 minutes, he'd just be a pulp.
Well, that's the thing, is that he keeps dropping him with chair
He's
shots.
the dead man, of course.
And then
he
Taker
wouldn't
just
be a
keeps
pulp.
getting back. Taker literally chases Jake the Snake out of the building with a coffin attached to his hand. It's
Again, chases is a strong word because he very slowly walks like that, horror bad guy that keeps catching up with you even though you're running and he's only walking.
His Jason
Oh,
Voorhees
don't.
style.
We'll have nightmares now.
But the pair,
This is far better than the match.
Yeah,
the pair would meet at WrestleMania 8 to settle their differences. Let's discuss Jake the Snake versus the Undertaker. Almost forgot the Undertaker's name there. It's a good sign.
The Undertaker, that expression never changes. Seemingly a cold-blooded individual. Always that eerie smell of formaldehyde when you're around him. I thought that was your cologne. Will you stop?
I've got 2 bits I like from this match.
Okay,
Well, let's say 3.
that's good
One,
going.
I love Jake the Snake's DDT.
Yep.
I always loved the DDT, and it was because of Jake the Snake. And I enjoy his short clothesline, which is
brutal.
an early Rainmaker. Especially, I don't think he did it with that in this, but he did in the Rumble where he sort of like does a ankle wrist lock sort of into it.
He does do it in this one as well.
Yeah, which is awesome. And then the third thing is that it ended quickly.
It is quite a short match, only
I think that's fair.
8 minutes or so.
The crowd was pretty flat as well for this, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Almost surprisingly so, I thought.
So, upon the now second watching of this match, I actually enjoyed this. I think just because the overall story of the match is Jake costs himself it really. He has the Undertaker down with the DDT. Taker sits up, drops him with the clothesline, gets DDT'd again. And at this point, if he had pinned the Taker,
Yeah.
could have got the win. But Jake, being the heel he is, has to go and attack Paul Bearer, and it costs him with the shittest tombstone of all time.
The safest tombstone
yeah.
of all time.
Yeah.
They've all been very safe so far,
Yeah.
haven't they? The ones we talked about in the last episode when he was trying to do it to Flair. Oh, no, it wasn't to Flair. When Flair put the chair in underneath and he just got absolutely nowhere near it. But, yeah.
Yeah, Jake's head was by Taker's groin, which is quite impressive, really, because Jake was carrying a little bit of timber at this point.
It's probably the reason that Taker was then, the only person allowed to do a pile driver.
Yeah, yeah. I was really disappointed with this match because I was really excited about it beforehand. Like Jake the Snake versus the Undertaker at WrestleMania. But yeah, it was a bit rubbish.
Taker didn't get any of his cool offense in this match either. I think that was my drawback from it, because I think character wise, both these guys are up there. And that part was awesome. Obviously, the build up, like I said, which I thought was way better than the match. The funeral parlor, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
But then there was just so little apart from those couple of flashes of Jake's offense. There wasn't really any offense.
He did do his leaping
The
clothesline.
diving clothesline was wild.
Did he?
Yeah.
And that, because that was at the time when I was thinking, wow, this crowd is flat. And then he did that, and it looked great. Whenever he gets air like that, it does look good. And then the crowd sort of popped a little bit. But that's the only thing I can think of that he did well, or that you could say you enjoyed.
I like the story of this match of kind of speed versus power. I like kind of Jake's beginning, how he is kind of sticking and moving, and kind of he's getting his offense in, even though there's clearly kind of a power difference between the two of them.
Do you want to know something interesting?
Go for it.
You put this match as your worst of the rest in
Did I?
in the episode of the Rewind, and in fact we can play your short review here.
I kind of think the Undertaker versus Jake Roberts was awful.
Oh, I quite like that. I quite liked it because it was.
I thought it was
old school
good.
Undertaker, where it was like really slow and ploddy.
Yes.
This was, of course, his second win of the streak.
Yep, his first one was against famous murderer Jimmy Snooker, wasn't it?
I think you're right. Yeah.
Ooh, let's
Let's move on from him.
He's dead. It's all right. It's fine. He's dead. Just like his victims.
Should we talk about? Should we talk about standout moment and move on quickly from?
Live wire John bringing
Actually, it's not libel if they're dead, is it?
How things have changed.
Man, we love Jimmy Snooker. I love Jimmy Snooker jokes.
But there you go. I think it's quite funny that match got like 10 seconds of a review back then, and it was the last worst of the rest. And here we are trying to go deeper into it.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately this is a pretty bad match, but I liked it in its own way. I've changed my mind.
It was okay. I was just disappointed, I think. Could have been better.
Yeah. And we always knew this was going to be the case for the Undertaking. We can't have 100 classic matches. And in fact, after talking about the Rumble for so long, I guess it's quite nice to have a quick one to go through.
Yep.
Indeed. And so
yeah,
that's it. This match would be Jake the Snake's last one in WWF for 4 years after a falling out with him and Vince McMahon.
Yeah, and in fact, I think we've got a listener comment coming up, which I'm just going to steal now. But I think Broken But Glorious says something along the lines of, this should have been a great match and it could have been a great match, but Jake probably just knew that, this was the end for him and he maybe kind of couldn't be asked. I don't know how much there is truth in that because, like you say, the storyline of the match was quite good. I quite enjoyed it.
This is Jake not giving a fuck, then, man, I want to watch some more Jake the Snake matches because I think he's an amazing wrestler.
I had a little Google as well on the old age of Jake the Snake at this point.
Oh,
how old do you reckon he was?
73?
22.
22.
45.
Yeah, 41.
38.
37.
Ooh.
No.
Oh my God.
A year younger than I am right now.
It's the same age as me.
Joe, just remember, listener,
I feel amazing.
That's a hard life.
Drugs are bad.
That is hard.
Drugs are bad. I mean, we all know he's had a terrible life.
Goodness. The match
Jake.
out of 5, Adam, what would you score it?
2.5. The only redeeming feature being, just the general storyline. It kind of worked for what they needed to do. It wasn't awful.
Taker's
Wasn't
performance?
Great. 2.5 again. Wasn't awful, wasn't great. He did a couple of good things.
Beautiful. Brett?
Yeah.
I'm going a 2 for the match. And I'm going harsh on Taker. I'm going 1 again. I just thought both of these were just...
You missed his
not
leaping
good.
clothesline.
I did, but even so...
John?
I'm going 2 for the match and 2 for Taker.
And I as well. I'm going 2 for the match and 2 for Taker, which
Lovely.
gives the match overall a 2.125 and Undertaker a 1.875 out of 5. So this week, Undertaker fails to break the 2-star limit that we set him. Not great.
Not a classic.
But as for Undertaker, he would go on to feud next with manager Dr. Harvey Whippleman and his wonderful collection of really offensive wrestlers. But that's a story for the next Undertaking.
Nice, Sam. Tease the listeners. Keep them interested.
Yeah, we'll see how interested they are when they see Kamala on screen.
Shush. Okay, is that it?
That's it.
Okay, well, let's have a quick break and see if any listeners have any memories of these matches.
1, 2, 3. Holy mackerel! I've never seen Jake the Snake defeated that severely as I've seen him at the hands of the Undertaker. Here is your winner, the Undertaker. What an ovation here for the Undertaker.
Okay, so we've got a couple of listener comments. Wrestle Plug. Fantastic. The main event of Mania was the one where Papa Shango missed his cue and got to the ring too late, so Sid had to kick out of the immortal leg drop. I do believe he was the first man to do so. Basically put, fuck Hulk Hogan. He is a giant ball of garbage.
Going back and trying to find us talking about The Undertaker in that WrestleMania VIII review was fun because I did listen to the bit where we talk about Papa Shango coming out. And obviously, long-term listeners will know my love for Papa.
Yep.
What a moment in his history. But yeah, that was great.
Still had a career after it though, despite the fact that, did all right.
Yeah, of course. Well, he's a class act.
Also, Broken Glorious, as Adam mentioned, they said best Rumble ever. Jake versus Taker would have been amazing if Jake wasn't leaving WWE after Mania. You can tell by his jobber jog to the ring that he's not asked.
Yeah. There you go.
Thanks,
Okay.
Thanks very much.
Yeah, thanks, guys. So that is it for the third instalment of The Undertaking. Next week, it's quiz time, which is exciting, I think. We've had a slightly longer gap than we would normally between quizzes. I think mostly we can blame the whole world falling apart for that. But I have started putting together the quiz. There is going to be an audio round. I've prepped it already, and it's going to really... Well, I don't know.
Do we need our pots and pans?
Oh, no. Don't you worry. Although I really hope that comes back next time you have to host a quiz. So, yeah, that'll be next week.
Autumn.
And
Calling
yeah.
it.
Oh.
I mean, who's going to challenge, really?
Hey.
Sam has won every quiz that he's taken part in where he hasn't hosted. We have to. That has to change. Brett, I might just send you the questions.
As long as you keep sending me the answers, we're all good.
Brett, if anybody wants to send you some tips on how to actually do quite well in a quiz, how would they get in touch?
They can send their emails to hardestpartofthering@gmail.com. Or they can catch us on Instagram, Facebook and Twitter. We are at hardestpartpod.
Wonderful. Thank you, everybody, for listening. I can tell you, and I'm going to say this so that we're accountable, that work has begun on the Hardest Part of the Ring website. Do you think anybody cares about that?
We care. That's enough.
I just started saying that, and I thought, do you think there's anybody listening who's just like punching the sky right now? Yes! But yeah, so that is to come. I imagine that'll be online within 6 months or so. Thank you for listening. And until next week, when we will be doing the quiz, it's goodbye from me, Adam. Goodbye to you, Sam.
See you later.
Thanks again for all your research. Goodbye, John.
Goodbye.
And goodbye, Brett.
Bye.
That was the hardest part of the ring.
That is the hardest part of that ring.